We're like professionals now, Nathan.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen the hell thing. I'm gonna change the colours.
All right, Nathan, what are we doing today?
All right, we're continuing on with the XE. A lot of stuff has happened since we've last visited you. Actually, no, I don't know what's happened. What did we do last time?
Well, there's a turbo on now.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, we have it. We'll show that later. We have a turbo on. Other issues on that too. The fuel lines and trans lines are now ran. Michael's just leaving his jungle everywhere. All beautiful along here.
So what is it? It's dash 8 Teflon braid, yeah?
Yes, dash 8 Teflon. I just decided to just go dash 8 on everything. Also, we now have a bulkhead in our floor up here. Probably wondering why the hell is there so many lines. So one of these barbs is going to be the supply line from the petrol tank to the surge tank. One barb will be our overflow from the surge back to the fuel tank. That's going to be our dash 8 fuel line supply line. And then this is our return line back to the surge tank. So it worked out perfect having this 4 bulkhead plate. It looks good, it's gonna work. It clears the diff shoved to this side. If it was above the diff, it probably wouldn't have hit it, but you would have been like in your head like, hope we're not smashing that line, eh?
Every big bumpy, but oh, yeah.
So that's pretty much all sorted. We've figured out how we're gonna do the brakes. Michael has figured out how he's going to do the handbrake, and then if you guys have a million asked questions on how Michael did it, you can message him. So yeah, we're getting there. We're hoping to knock out exhaust today. Dad, Tin Man, is back on the exhaust again today to help us out. Me and Michael will probably continue wiring.
Yeah, it looks like that way, I reckon. So
Yeah.
there's still a fair bit of wiring left to go, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting very close to actually powering up and see if this thing doesn't turn into a sparkler.
Yes. I just got a message. We're going to get our dash today.
Sick.
So Michael can button up the dash today. Yeah?
Hopefully, yeah, that should work. Yeah, if I get power of the system, then I should be able to do that, yeah.
So that means we can almost have an interior back together.
Yes. Yay, little win.
Yeah, our shifter cable is in, but it's quite short. We're gonna
We're gonna do a dodgy.
you don't need this brace. So we're gonna fix that, but the shift cable is in as well.
Okay, so up top, what has changed? Pretty much all the wiring is in. I'm still working on a few little things, like now I'm actually hooking up the vehicle power. So what I'm going to do, rather than trying to rewire the whole thing, all I'm doing is like where the battery would have been, is I'm just taking this. This is what the power that would have gone to the battery. I'm just going to send that straight to where the alternator gets power from our new system. So that way it keeps things simple. It keeps the body harness pretty much factory. So if there's any issues, I can just refer to the manual because I can track it all from there. And it just makes things simple. So we're just going to go with that. So I'm working on that at the moment, getting this factory harness hooked into our new battery that we've ran. You might notice that there's now a turbo on top as well too. So we do finally have a turbo bolted on. Looks great, looks awesome. So it's using the 6 boost manifold. We're having a couple of issues though. One of those issues is turbo is now tilted that way, which means our exhaust will not work. We need to modify that. That's one of the things Tin Man is going to work on today. He's going to modify the dump pipe. One other issue that we have is the compressor housing is going to end up almost in the same position that the Fairlane was, where this is way too close for a silicon bend. And given that the Fairlane silicon bend blew out and we didn't know how long it was blown out for, we're going to try and fix that. Hopefully we're going to try and weld on an aluminium bend to get it away from here. That's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is we need to clock the turbo as well too. So the whole center of it needs to be clocked over slightly so that we're not too angled, because right now our turbo drain is coming out that way. It needs to be coming out more that way. But it's seized. It's seized to the exhaust housing here, and we're trying to break it free and try clock it, but it just will not budge. So we need to try and figure that out today. We're going to try and heat the housing, see if we can heat that, and then get Nathan's big homemade spanner that he made the other day, which sits on here, and try and rotate it. But it is seized solid, so we're working on that. So that's where we're at. So again, today's going to be a little bit like last week's episode, where we're just going to keep working and film little bits here and there, because we didn't have the time to make this a real pretty edit like we usually would, I suppose, because we literally have 2 weeks to get this thing as you see it now. We have 2 weeks to get this pretty much ready and a running car.
3 weeks.
We don't have 3 weeks. We have 2 weeks, because we want to have a week of
dyno
fighting.
Yeah.
So we want to have this on the dyno in 2 weeks, which gives us then a week before hard ass.
Yes.
to fix any issues that were, of course, going to come up, and test it and drive it, and Nathan can drive the wheels off it and see what goes wrong.
Yeah.
And probably blow a gearbox 2 days before the event, and then we're out of it after all this work. So I'm saying 2 weeks, Nathan's saying 3, but 2 weeks is what we're really worried about. Let's just get stuff done, shall we?
Yeah.
This is my main feed that's going to run to the alternator, and it's also the feed that's now going to run the car. So like I said before, this is what the battery would have gone to on the positive side originally. It just goes to there. Can you believe that a wire, it's actually 2 wires, these 2 little wires here is what feeds the entire car power. So I've just taken it from 2 wires to 1 thick wire after the fusible link to maintain that, so that it's still all factory. So if something goes pop, it doesn't pop over there, it pops here like it should. So that's good. That's going to run down to my alternator. I'm going to use that stud there rather than putting an extra bulkhead in.
Oh, so we're not doing a bulkhead?
I'm not going to put another bulkhead in. I reckon I can run off the alternator because it's essentially it's just a bulkhead as well too.
Yep.
And it just keeps things neat. I don't want to have too many bulkheads because the more you do that, the more risk you have of a spanner or something being dropped on it, and the car lights up like a Christmas tree.
That's true.
Yep.
That's why we have a...
Oh, isolator. So we have another isolator. So we're going to pop one of these in the back. We are going to put a fuse in as well too. I want to put a mega fuse into it, but I don't have one of them. I need to order it online. Essentially what it would look like. These things, but bigger.
But we can't just get a good old bloody, what are those sound system packs? You know those giant...
Oh, yeah, sound system. One of these.
Oh, is it still in this car?
Yeah, one of them. That there.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you just use that?
That's actually it.
That's not being used.
Yeah, but it's a bit... Nah, I'm going to get a better one. I don't like it. That's literally a sound system one. No,
that's why I brought it up, because I was like, he won't want to use that.
No, I'm going to get a proper one. So we're going to put that in as well too, but that'll be later because I can't get one just yet. So we'll just put the isolator in for now, just so that if something does go wrong, at least we can turn it off. And yeah, I need to hook up the alternator warning light, get that sorted so that the alternator will charge. Once I have this sorted, then I'm going to try and move to the dash.
Yep.
Get inside, get the dash done. So
well, hopefully the cluster the fascia will come today.
Oh, fingers crossed, we'll see.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put another bulkhead in, but I'm going to have to put one in. There's not enough room to put everything I need on the stud in the back of the alternator, so bulkhead it is. Have a look at it.
Good. That's it.
Beautiful.
Easy.
As easy as that.
Alright, now what? Moving on.
We can make earth cables now if you want to.
Okay. I need that.
Yeah.
Where am I going to go?
Alright. We have our earth cable going in. We're going to go back to the original position where we had on the fair lane, which seemed to work pretty well. So that's going to run down behind our alternator, and now we're going to put it down to this lovely little nutsert that we just sunk in there. We just bring ground down the paint off, so it should be about as earth as it comes. It's hard to talk over all this polishing going on over there. Priorities. So we have our world's shortest alternator to bulkhead connection here, but I couldn't get everything onto that one thing, so I had to put it on there. Bolt would have been on by like 2 threads.
Yeah.
It has to have a little bit of a kink in it, even though the engine's not going to move very much. I just want to make sure it doesn't end up ripping out. It's finally happening, people.
Finally happening.
Finally happening.
We've finally knocked up the balls to get someone to cut the end of our turbocharger off.
Turbocharger.
So we are going to lock this off to there and weld that on. This way, yes. So like that. I got a reducer.
Oh yeah, because it's going to be straight now. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so I got a straight reducer. Easy. And then we should have no more issues of melting 90 degrees.
We're like professionals now, Nathan.
Oh,
After all these years.
I know. That looks so good, doesn't it? Oh, that's wicked. That means I can come back tonight. I can do intercooler piping. I can finish plumbing turbo. You reckon you can do the water pump? That's a 2-hour job.
Right, so we've made an executive decision. What have we decided, Nathan?
I've decided, not going to try and clock the center section of this turbo. Me and Michael look at this and we both go, this turbo could be clocked a little bit straighter, so then the turbo drain is a little bit more vertical and the oil will flow out better. Right now it is completely seized to the back section of the housing. We don't have time to get another turbo. We don't have time to get this repaired if we bust it from trying to separate it. The other thing is we're not going to get it fully vertical either, because this exhaust manifold is made for, it's not made for these little turbos. So the drain is actually going to hit the flange.
Yeah, so it's probably.
So we're not even going to get it fully vertical. So we've always gone off 15 degrees after we learnt off the Cortina. And where they're talking 15 degrees is rear compressor housing, front compressor housing, whatever, is this way. Because inside the turbo, it has like a drain like this. And if you go too much like this, the oil will pull up on the back and then it'll just burn the oil and kill the rear seal.
Yeah, which is what we're worried about with the Cortina, because that's what it was doing the Cortina.
Exactly. But this turbo is sitting level. Back to front, the turbo is sitting level. So realistically, it's going to drain perfectly. It's just the center section is a little bit, is crooked like this. They're saying 35 degrees on having the angle that way. And then, you know, you can read into more things. People are like, I got my turbo at 60 degrees. That's extreme.
Yeah.
But I would rather leave it like this than run the risk of bending the compressor wheel or killing the rear housing. That's my fascia. That's my 3D printed dash.
Cool.
So I'm just going to put this back together. I'm going to make these hard lines. I'm going to make these lines. That is done.
So the worry that we have is to get these out, there's only a couple of ways you can get it out. Some people say you got to bash from the rear turbine, bash it forward with a hammer, but the concern is, and it is noted, that you can end up damaging the bearings, and we don't want to risk that. If we hammer on this, we could end up splitting the casting, because this is only cast, and cast doesn't like being hammered on. It could split or will crack, and we don't have time for a new turbo, so we're just going to leave it. What do we got, Nathan? Show me what we got. Come on.
So
what's in the box?
So what we have is a Mako Motorsport dash insert.
Woo! Look at that. That looks a bit fancy.
I wasn't gonna get the dash insert because I feel like in the XEs, it's really far away from you, but it looks so much cleaner.
It does. They always do. It
You
just
know,
makes it look like it's meant to be there.
I did want it mounted up there, but it just looks a lot cleaner sitting back. That looks killer. I mean, it would have looked good with the UC10. The UC10 dash looks really killer.
Yeah, so this is actually the second one we got, because the first one we got delivered accidentally was delivered wrong. It was a UC10.
Yes.
And it would have looked sick, because when you put it in there, it looked nice and
Actually,
wide.
I always
and it was
mistake
awesome.
it. It goes like this.
Yeah, see? I see what you mean, though. It is, you're going to need your glasses to see
Yeah,
that.
it sits really, really far back, and like it kind of annoys me, but it's fine. It looks clean.
You know how we can fix that?
UC10.
UC10. I'll take.
Okay.
Help us out here, man.
So this should now make Michael a happy boy, because it means he can finish off the dash.
Yes, pretty much. So Nathan handed me this, going, I don't know what this is. What is it? It's a big block of, looks like cement. And I'm like, oh, I reckon I might know what this is. And if it is, these guys are legends for doing it. In that kit, it also comes with this, a little note that says, congrats on your new Mako Motorsport dash mount. Sometimes removing the original cluster stops the alternator from working. Yes, it does. How did we find that out? On the Fairlane, when I was scratching my head going, why the hell won't the Fairlane work? To save you potential headache, we included a 5-watt resistor. Simply wire it parallel into your battery warning light to fix the issue. So I'm just gonna wire this in now. I was literally thinking all day, I'm like, oh, I gotta find where the alternator light is. I'm gonna have to probably run the alternator light, because if I put a resistor in, I've put resistors in the past in the Fairlane and it never quite worked because it wasn't enough. I gotta figure all that out. Mako Motorsports thought it about for you. So thanks, guys. It's just the little things, you know. I'm so happy now. I'm going to put this in. Job done. Once Nate puts this earth on, I need to just finish off a couple more plugs. And then we're going to try to turn this on. Now the ECU won't start initially, but I'm just going to see if the cast tone turns on. Then I'm going to try and find what's the start signal for the ECU, and we'll turn the ECU on for the first time.
This is scary. It's like we electrify the whole body.
No, what was scary is when your old man just went and cut off the end of your turbo without a second thought.
I know, he was like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I walk past and I'm like, oh, he's actually just cutting the turbo.
The grind, bang!
Oh, alright, so a little M10 nutsert there, and then the earth should be done. And then, power on, baby. Where are we at, Michael?
Alright, this is going to be a very huge and very anticlimactic moment all at the same time. So we are about to flick the switch and see if the factory wiring works. I'm not touching any of the ECU at the minute. The ECU has got no start signal. The reason for that is I want to just make sure that this side doesn't sparkle. And once I know that that sort of works, I'm going to test the lights, test the indicators, all that sort of stuff. Once that's all good, I'm going to find the start signal, which will then tell the ECU to turn on, which I'm pretty positive is that big fat wire there. So this is it.
All right, I'm gonna. Where's the most possible cause of smoke down here?
Everywhere. We got the extinguisher somewhere. All right, I'm gonna go on with the power. Ready?
Yep.
Negative to negative, positive to positive. She's on.
Okay. How do you know she's on?
I don't. But the power's on. She lives.
Oh!
She lives. All right.
We've got no dash.
No, but so that's the lights. So if you pull that out,
Jesus, that scared the crap out of me.
that's dash light. Hey!
Is the headlight working?
Headlights on. Go down one. Parkers. Yep. Wow. We're not going to be able to see shit at Drag Challenge.
All right, so that's good. That means we've got some power. Now I want to test data. Let's see, hopefully we get some sort of response.
Try that.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Are we sure that's the starter?
Yeah, that's definitely starter. Why is it no starts?
And this is why we love to wire.
I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. Let's investigate.
Imbeciles!
So we think
Well, we're not confirmed yet, but
we think we may have found the problem, and we think that problem is Nathan. We've just realised that the shifter may actually be in first at the moment and not reverse, because we both just realised. I didn't really share it either, to be honest, but flicked it all the way forward thinking that's parked, and we realised no, that's actually going to be first. Park is all the way back because the shifter pushes. So let's just see if it's a simple fix. It could just be something super simple.
yes, because it is backwards.
That would be it. That would do it.
I knew all along. I was just trying to.
Hey, this works now. We know that our inhibitor switch works.
That's true. Oh, that's funny.
Okay. It hasn't been fixed yet, but if this isn't fixed, I'm about ready to pull all the wiring loom apart and figure out what's going on. So if this is it.
I mean, if that works, it means you've done a bloody good wiring job with the inhibitor switch. Because how many people would just skip the inhibitor switch?
The only reason why I knew that is because I've skipped the inhibitor switch before.
Have you got?
What do
there
we
it
do
is.
with it?
It's here.
So go down to the earth on that little
Yeah,
bolt
okay.
down there. Come on, baby. Ready?
Hit it. Yes!
That little light there is all I need to see, baby. At least we know how inhibitor switch works.
He was stressing.
Oh.
New underwear needed. Lovely. All right, what else do you want to test?
Right, we should see power on the dash now when I go to this.
Oh,
Okay.
trans fan's on.
Trans fan's on. That's because
We haven't set a temperature
I haven't
yet.
set a temperature yet. So trans fan. Well, that means we're getting power somewhere. Trans fan is number 2. Wideband sensors flashing. That's on. Now.
I can't believe the trans fan worked well.
What do you mean you can't believe the trans fan worked? I wired it.
I don't know, just, you know.
Hey, the dash is upside down. That's better.
Did you wire it upside down?
Oh no, I went wrong way around. Alright, here's the big test. We're about to have a Haltech in our XC. Are you ready?
Yeah, hit it.
Oh, it's
my
been a
God.
while since we've seen the Haltech screen! Oh, we got to change the colours. Coolant temp high, okay, so we got to adjust a few things.
Oh man, that's an achievement, Michael. Well done.
3 in gear temp.
You did good. Oh, throttle position?
No TPS.
Is it plugged in?
It should be. That's interesting. Okay, but we've got stuff, so it's on.
Done.
That's it. We have a Haltech in our
In our XC.
XC. So make sure it doesn't disappear when I bump it. No, it doesn't, so that's good, that's correct. From here I need to just tidy everything up. I need to start wiring in the dash now.
Yeah.
So start putting in like indicators, headlights, when everything comes on the screen basically. Well, that's it for today. I think we're gonna call it here. Have a bit of a break because, I mean, that's a win. We have power to the car finally. Still plenty to be done wiring wise alone, which is, like I said, the dash. I still need to wire up the fuel pumps. Figure out why my trans fan's turned on. I have a feeling I know what that is. I just need to actually program it off the dash, so it's probably just turned to automatically turn on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a win. So now comes the fault findings. Nate's gonna keep buttoning up this over the next few days and hopefully get this all sorted. So it should look pretty much complete by the next time you see this. This is looking really good too.
Yeah.
Heaps of room. Nice and close to our spark plugs.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, see when we've got more done.
All right, Nathan, it is probably a week later, I reckon. We've been fairly busy off camera on this thing.
We have.
And there's probably a lot that's been done. We're gonna give you a quick rundown of where we're at, because there's quite a fair bit to go through, I think.
The drive shaft is back from being shortened. So this all, we've sat this in and this fits and everything's all good and fine. So GJ shortened this for us. This was an original GJ drive shaft that was out of the fair lane, and it's now been cut down 130 mil. So that's all good to go now.
The reason why it's back out is because Nathan has painted the diff. So the diff now has been painted. We thought it was going to go unpainted. I really thought you were going to leave it.
It looked really bad under there.
It did, yeah.
So I painted the diff last night. I've sorted out the brake lines, like how I'm going to do it. So I do just need to make the hard lines now. That'll go to the center joiner, which goes to a soft line, which goes to that center hard line. So that's all sorted now. I'll finish that off tonight, tomorrow. The exhaust is all finished as well. Dad knocked this out. We've changed out the flange for a V-band because I hate flanges. The V-band is now on. You will notice it's the Fairlane's exhaust.
It is exactly the same, just a little bit shorter.
It's exactly the same, just a little bit shorter. And he polished it up as well. That was because it was a specific ask to be polished.
Yeah, because that was time critical.
It was very, well, look how much better it looks.
Turbo is now bolted up,
Mm-hmm.
and is all looking good with our 90-degree aluminium bend, something we should have done many, many years ago.
And I'm waiting for my 30-degree pipe there, and then that should be finished, hopefully.
Yeah, because it's a pretty straight run. It's just going to go doop.
Yeah, it's very straight run. That'll get buttoned up soon. Remade that hard line. So we have sorted the gate out. This was our old wastegate. It was a 50mm wastegate. At the time, me and Michael both looked at it and went, whoa, that's big. And then, well, the 6-boost manifold requires a 60. Yeah.
And that's a 60.
So we've got a 60mm gate now from TurboSmart. We've always ran a TurboSmart gate, never an issue, always the best product. And well, yeah, look at it, it's massive.
It is absolutely massive when you compare it to the 50mm. Hold it side by side. Little tiny baby brother, it's only supposed to be 10mm difference. And look at the size difference, it's massive. So packaging is a bit of an issue.
It is. So I've actually got to go get some steel and that to move the wastegate where it is. Kick it on a bit of an angle. This runs minimum 14-pound spring, so we don't even need a boost controller.
I was going to say, I actually have to get in the computer and actually turn the boost controller off, because otherwise it'll be...
Yeah, we don't even need it. We can just run it off spring.
Yeah, because 14 pounds is what we run in this car, and that's the lowest that's going to go.
Yeah, I don't know if the 14-pound spring is in it now. I'd say it is. I hope so. So we've got to fit that in as well, and it's quite tight in there. Like maybe we should have just stuck with the 50, but the thing is, these manifolds are known for boost creeping, and they suggest nothing smaller than a 60. So,
6-boost themselves say that you don't use anything less than a 60, otherwise you will experience boost creep.
Yeah.
Which is, if you don't know what boost creep is, it's basically...
when you want it at 14, and then you're slowly going down the quarter, and it goes to 15, and it goes to 16,
and then all of a sudden,
70.
and then your rods go...
And then you'll be driving over your crank, like what Harry says. We did purchase this through Tiperformance. Tiperformance do stock all TurboSmart parts and the full range of TurboSmart gear. So yeah, don't forget that you can get your TurboSmart stuff from Tiperformance, as well as your Haltech stuff.
Alright, so wiring, there's been a fair bit of wiring done. I'll try to run through it. You'll excuse me because I'm losing my voice because I'm now crook. So wiring is pretty much completely finished at this stage. All I have left now to do is wire up the power steering pump and the trailer plug on the rear. Everything else has been done. The Haltech we booted up the other day, and I've been testing a few sensors. A couple of them are playing up, so I've changed a couple out, found a couple of broken wires. So when we turned it on the other day, our TPS sensor, throttle position sensor, wasn't working. I had a look, turned out to be a broken wire somewhere in here, in the loom, just about there. And that's pretty much the reason why I didn't button up the wiring before turning everything on the tester, because it meant that it was super easy to actually trace that wire and find where that break was. If that had been covered in conduit, that would have been a pain to find. So that's all working. Shall we turn it on? I'll show you what it looks like so far.
Yeah.
In here now, everything is sort of back together. The dash just needs to be screwed down, but it's in. And when we turn the ignition on, everything boots up. ECU starts flashing, that starts flashing, and our Haltech starts working.
Oh yeah.
We also have like all my indicators, they're flashing quick because we've got bulbs out, but indicators are all hooked up, our high beam switch is hooked up as well too. It'll even tell you when it's in, handbrake is on too, which is handy. So that's looking pretty good. Couple of things that I still got to nut out on this. There's a couple of sensors that are reading a little bit strange, but I think that's in the software because they used to read fine. Fuel gauge is also hooked up as well too. I think that's going to work. I won't know until we put fuel into it, so we'll see. Fuel pumps are all wired up except for this, obviously this rear one here. We're still trying to figure out an issue with that one. The way that this works is there's a lift pump in the main tank which then sends it to the surge tank. The surge tank has a supply pump which will then send it to the engine, and then there's also a second pump in the surge tank which will be our drain, which will run to this dry brake here, and this is how we're going to drain the system when it comes to drag challenge. Now in the Fairlane, we've got switches and stuff. It's all much more fancier where we can turn on pumps independently to drain surge tank and fuel cell really easily, and we don't have to worry about pulling anything apart. But that was because the Fairlane, we changed from 98 to E85 a lot more regularly than we're going to do with this car. This car probably only going to ever see one drag challenge unless Nathan really likes what the XE does and does every drag challenge after that. Because of that reason, what I've done is I set it up fairly basic, and it just means that when we go to do this, we're going to pull a couple of relays. So the ECU just sends a signal via this wire here, which is going to turn on the pumps when you're normally driving. As soon as you go to prime it, it'll turn on the supply pump and the lift pump through these relays here. Each relay controls each pump, and the way that it's going to work is if you want to drain the fuel out of this thing when we come to hooking in our dry brake, you flick this switch here, and it's going to turn on the pumps. Now when we're draining it, we're not going to want the supply pump to be running, so in that case what we're going to do is just pull the relay, and that's going to kill the supply pump.
Yep.
All right, that's just to make it easy, because otherwise trying to hook up wires and running diodes to stop certain pumps are turning on and off, it's going to be an absolute pain. And then when we're driving, we're going to pull the drain pump out and just sit that in the spare fuse holder here.
Is it turning on all the pumps?
It turns on all the pumps. If I was to try and do that so that it was all individual, it's a lot more complicated.
Fair enough.
More switches, and I'm like, you know what? For the few times that we're going to do this, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that there. So now when that triggers, it's only triggering the supply pump and the lift pump. So we're just going to have to swap the relay when we go to empty it. But we're probably only going to empty this 5 times in its life when we go to each track for drag challenge.
100%, yeah.
So it wasn't worth swapping everything around. So that looks good, it's all nice and neat. Also put in my mega fuse, so a big nice 150 amp fuse. This basically is the fuse for the entire engine side of things. It still has a fusible link in the car for the body, so that works as factory. But that's a nice big fuse for everything else. Last thing that I got to show you is power steering pump. Power steering pump, the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you a little gadget that I'm trying this time around. So I'm running my main wires, which obviously got big positive and negative, because this thing draws, when it's under full lock, it draws up to about 75 amps. When it's running at idle, it runs about 15 amps. So it's not too bad, but it can peak when it's at full lock. The only other thing you'll do is hook up these two wires here, the black and the blue wire here. Now you can hook them straight together to the ignition, and the pump will turn on, it'll work, it should be fine, and most people do that. But the issue is, and we had it with the Fairlane, it takes ages for it to boot up. You get that really slow, and it sounds like a jet, but it takes like 10 seconds to kick in. There's a way that you can get around that, and that is by delaying the circuit. So you turn one on, and then a couple of seconds later, you turn on the second circuit. And the way that you can do that is by using this thing here. This is a delay relay circuit or something like that. And the way that it works is, you put your feed in, and it just delays a circuit. So you can have one positive feed coming into this, and then you can have 2 positive feeds coming out, but one turns on about 2 seconds later. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And all that means is that the pump will actually spool up really quickly and be ready to use almost instantaneously. 2 seconds later, but much quicker than starting up like that, and it's way quieter. So I bought this off eBay, it's like $5 just for a little module, and then I put it in a little box with a little switch as well too. I've got a switch on there just so that when we're diagnosing or when we're trying to tune the car and stuff, we can turn the power steering pump off so that we're not drawing power when it's sitting there with no engine running. You don't have to have that, that's just a nicety that we're putting into it. So I'm making a box now, I need to figure out where I want to mount it. Once I figure out where I'm going to mount it, whether it's going to be in here or in the cab, then the power steering is pretty much finished. And the wiring on this car is essentially then done. That's pretty much it. We want to get this thing done and running in about the next 7 days. There's still obviously heaps to go, but hopefully we're going to get there. We are smashing through it. And then it's to the dyno, do a tune on it, and basically we're off to hard ass. Where we're not taking this to hard ass, by the way. If people are asking, are we going to hard ass in this? We're not taking this car. We're taking my HQ, the Sandman, and the VY Turbo. This is going to DC.
Yes.
So we're going to get it all ready, get it all tuned, get it all sweet, go kill the HQ for a week, and hopefully this will still run by the time we get back from the week, and then we go to DC. So, fingers crossed. We're working pretty hard to get this thing smashed out, so apologies we didn't get a video out last week, and this one's probably not as polished as it normally would be, but at this stage, it's just get it done.
Yeah, that's pretty much the state we're in. But the car is looking sick. I'm very happy with how it's looking. And I can't wait to be racing it at GC. If you do want to support the channel, make sure you head over to the Hackshop Garage website where you can buy some merch and stuff like that. And you know, you can also sign up to be a member and we can club reg your shitbox. Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next update.
Yeah.
The next update video.
Next update video.
It feels like a vlog, just an update, you know, like, hey guys, still 275 days without a running XE. Anyways, I'm gonna go.
Because I pie cutted this, just watch it.
Do you need to hold a light for you as well?
No. He can't hold the light straight anyway. It's a dad thing.
I don't like holding the light.
Yeah, because you get abused.
And
Just keep swimming.
just keep
swimming.
I don't know, there's so much to do. I'll just keep going, I guess. I wasn't gonna work on this tonight. I should really work, but
Buy t-shirts and stickers, people. Because we're not working at the moment.
hit it. Asshole!
Ready?
These bloody
Yeah, I know.
Like we got taken in the rear passengers.
100%. We're gonna bust 4 door handles this trip.
Blah blah blah. No, I didn't mean that.
You scared yourself.
Stupid Ford hand horn.
Did we get that yet? Before, after. Dude, it's water cooled as well. Is that a water symbol?
Where?
Yeah.
That is a water symbol. You can water cool it. We're not going to, but you can.
Man, this thing's barely gonna live on gate. Oh. And we're just gonna shoot the screamer up out the bonnet. It's just easier.
Yeah.
You know, it's just. Michael just.
For reference, the 50mm gate is the size of a 2-inch exhaust.
2.5.
That
This is
6
2.5.
inches to a 2.5-inch exhaust.
Yeah,
that's the
this is gonna
size that's on my
It's
HQ.
gonna sound insane on gate. Holy crap, man.
When I raced you in it will be, and I nearly beat you in the HQ because I was next to you the whole time. When you came on gate, it's scary, man.
That's good.
It's loud.
Yeah, I'm hunting down the barras.
Yeah, you think. Ooh,
Predator.
Them's fighting words.
Anyways, that's it. We've got to plumb that in as well.
Hunting down the barras. Can you get a sticker on this saying I'm going fishing?